This is simply a test of your emergency broadcast system. If this were a real emergency, I wouldn't be recording on YouTube. Welcome to Ruminations from the Road. My name is Michael Dawson. I am, like you had seen in the previous videos, one of the three people that have been involved with the Tony Garcia broadcast for a number of years. After we went our separate ways, we actually stayed in contact with one another. You know, myself, Tony, and our other cohort, and figured it's about time that we really get back into the swing of things, get back into the grind, as it were, of just having an open dialogue. And considering that radio is, say what you will about radio and talk radio, this is probably the best methodology for us to really just have that dialogue with people who care about that dialogue. So welcome. First of all, a couple of things. This video is, like I had mentioned at the outset, simply a test. This is more of an air check for myself. This is, just checking in on the angle of the camera, some of the, nuances that come with video recording. Am I speaking clearly and loud enough? Am I taking care of my pacing and making sure that, I enunciate well? So that way the listener, the viewer in this case, can understand what's going on. So with that being said, let's move forward into a couple of different things. A couple of things I want to talk about today. I have some personal rules. I live in the rather, we'll call it, moderate state of Minnesota. And I say moderate for a reason. Outside of the, we'll call them the three major metropolitan hubs in this state. And when I say major, I don't talk like, obviously, New York, Los Angeles, Dallas, Fort Worth, Chicago. I'm saying Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities, for those of you who aren't familiar with the area. Rochester, Minnesota, which is another large metropolitan area. And then lastly, Duluth. There are the Duluth Superior, in a lot of cases, is what locals will call Twin Cities North. Superior, though, being in Wisconsin, so we don't really count them. I'm just calling the three primary metropolitan areas of this state: Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, and Duluth. We can maybe even say we'll call them tier 2 areas like St. Cloud and Bemidji, but that's a different topic for a different day. The reason I call Minnesota a moderate state is once you start getting outside of those three very specific geographies and those congressional districts, this is a little bit of a political channel, so get ready. Most of this state is very conservative. For goodness sakes, we elected Michelle Bachmann. Holy cow. I mean, her and Palin from Alaska, probably the two biggest Republican whack jobs I've ever seen. Now, and I am conservative. Absolutely am. I call myself a conservative. I don't call myself a Republican. I don't call myself a Democrat or liberal or anything like that. I just identify as conservative. So you get outside of the Twin Cities, you get outside of Rochester, you get outside of Duluth, all of a sudden, we're a red state. But since 80% of the population lives in those three cities, I don't know that statistic right off the top of my head like that. That might not be fair, but we'll call it an overwhelming majority of the population lives in those three states, or those three areas, geographical locations. And they are very liberal-leaning geographic locations and cohorts. We vote blue. And if you need any further evidence, take a look at the state House and state Senate. Realize that, yeah, you get up way northern Minnesota, it's very, very blue. You get into the Twin Cities, obviously it's very blue. But all of a sudden, you get into the central part of the state where there's nothing but cornfields and small town USA. We are a very conservative state. So we really don't know why we vote, or Democrat. We do it probably because Grandpa, was a Democrat, because he was a farmer. So the DFL, the Democratic Farm and Labor, yeah, we are so far away from those labels nowadays that it's insane. So there you go. There it talks a little bit about my beautiful home state. Much to Tony's chagrin, will I ever move to Arizona? Maybe. I'll put it that way. Maybe. We will probably have to wait a number of years. I have 2 children. Both of those children are still in school, so I would probably say we are going to be the empty nesters that move to Arizona because it's a dry heat. So why do I bring up politics on the very first video? Well, simply put, I saw a news story the other day about Bernie Sanders and a representative from Oregon, I want to say. I can't remember the third one. But then my congresswoman from Minneapolis, Ilhan Omar. Again, I didn't vote for her. Or I wouldn't have had a chance to vote for her because I don't live in her district. But either way, you get the point. There's no way I'd ever vote for Ilhan Omar. She is way too left-leaning for me. But this is where I've been thinking about the last few days. Yeah, the whole Iran thing, that's been on the top of my mind too. But this one really strikes a chord, and I think it was a great opportunity to put some thoughts in the digital, cyberspace. Bernie Sanders and Ilhan Omar come out earlier this week and said college should be free. And we're going to give debt forgiveness to 45 million college students. You know what, Bernie? The 60s were good to you, weren't they? Haight-Ashbury was super good to you. And they even went as far to say, okay, we're going to give free tuition to trade schools and community colleges. Now, with my previous careers, I have a soft spot in my heart for the trades. I do. It is a dying industry in this country. Another topic for another day. Let's stay on course. What about me then? What about the people who, first of all, graduated college? I have an undergraduate degree, and that undergraduate degree allowed me to get a career that I enjoy and I prosper at. It gave me the skills to do so. But we're talking about all college being free. Now, and we're going to pay for it by taxing stocks and bond trading. I will give them credit where it's due, at least, that they came up with an idea to pay for the thing that they want. So many times, we hear people say, oh, well, the government should take care of this. The government should take care of that. The government should do this. Fantastic. Nothing wrong with that idea in and of itself. But when you start looking at it from how are we going to implement this, you realize very quickly that it's really akin to a petulant child screaming at the top of their lungs in the middle of Target, stomping their feet, saying they want the newest Tickle Me Elmo. Has nothing to do with actually, doing good for people. It's making it look like we care about doing good for people. And that's what it comes down to. Why not, instead of having a press conference about it, just submit a bill within Congress and say, this is what we're going to do? Oh, you know why? Because that doesn't get publicity. Oh, and by the way, who's running for president? Bernie Sanders. Oh, and who has much higher political aspirations? Ilhan Omar. Oh yeah, sure, makes complete sense. We're gonna have a press conference to announce what we're gonna do. So point number 2. Why are they really doing this now? Again, it's for publicity. That's all it is. It's to get their name on somebody's screen. Get their face on somebody's screen. That's it. Point number 3, and this is the one I'm going to leave you with because I don't want this to be too long. I prescribe to the Dave Ramsey principles of financial management. If you don't know this person, go find him, go look him up. Dave Ramsey has a very good outlook on college, and I completely agree. Go to an in-state college or university or trade school that you can afford. Find a field of study that will allow you to provide for your family later on in life. You do not need a 4-year degree in underwater basket weaving. What are you going to do with a undergraduate degree in anthropology? What are you going to do with an undergraduate degree in women's studies? What are you going to do with an undergraduate degree in today's modern economy with something else, with a liberal arts background? My undergraduate degree is marketing with a communication studies minor. So you know what I do? I'm in sales. I talk to people. I help people go from I have a problem that I need to fix to here's the solution I can offer, and how do we get there? That's what I do for a living. That's what I've made my career on. My marketing background helps immensely with that. My communication studies background helps me immensely, especially when I get into conflict resolution and negotiations. So, and I went to a state school, paid my own tuition with the help of grants and loans, just like anybody else out there right now, and I did pay off my student loans. Did it suck? Absolutely. Did I have a lot of debt? Absolutely. Probably had about $35,000, $40,000 worth of student loan debt. I'll give you a range because I'm not going to give you an exact number here on YouTube. But at least it gives you kind of an idea. College, you can do this without having it for free. And in fact, I think the people that pay their own way, first of all, find a field of study that is going to pay for that degree. And not only that, but unlike so many college students that go to school on mom and dad's dime, or go to school on a bunch of grants and scholarships and and big student loans, what do? They don't take it seriously enough to give themselves the best chance for success. Did I do some of that stuff? Absolutely. I'd be lying if I didn't. But hearing somebody say that this should be free is really giving that petulant child a cookie. Giving that petulant child the new iPhone, the new Tickle Me Elmo. That's what we're really doing here. By giving someone a 4-year or 2-year free ride for education beyond, high school is not helping that person at all. In fact, all you're doing is really keeping them down and hurting them. You're not letting that person get the skills that they need in order to be financially responsible, be good stewards of their time, be able to prioritize what needs to be done compared to what they want to do. Did I want to eat pizza and drink and party every night in college? Maybe not every night, but most nights. Did I do it? Absolutely not. Why? Because I knew that I was going to have to pay for this one way or another. And I had another topic for another video, I had a real nasty scare my first year, my first semester, where all could have been taken away. So, yeah, homeboy buckled down and got his act together. Got slapped in the face with reality real hard. And decided that this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And so far, it's working out okay. So there you go. Michael Dawson, Ruminations from the Road. We didn't even get to the rules, but that's okay. We will talk another time.